Inside the last 13 minutes of the SportsMax zone for this Tuesday, we are back and we're going to talk some netball now. Netball expected to make its debut at the Central American and Caribbean Games at the 2023 edition set for San Salvador in El Salvador. Aside from the African Games and the Southeast Asian Games, netball is not regularly represented at international multi-sport events. Its inclusion at the next CSE Games is seen as a significant step in the sport's attempt to globalize. President of the American Federation of Netball Associations, AFNA, Jamaica's Marva Bernard, joins us now to talk about the growth and progress of the sport. Marva, a huge story this and a huge plus for the sport of netball, which has struggled, we know, globally for some time now. How did this actually come about? It seems to have been a huge coup.
Well, first of all, Lance and company, thanks for having me this evening. I like to give credit where credit is due. We took over and we're no longer AFNA now, Lance. World Netball has rebranded INF to World Netball, and we are now America's Netball.
AN.
So we're no longer AFNA.
So
yeah, but it takes a little getting used to, so okay. I understand.
So you're now AN. America's Netball.
Oh, I've been seeing AN. I'm actually writing a report and I'm seeing AN. Yes. Let me tell you how this came about. Very early in 2019, when we took over in 2018, and the president of the United States Netball Association said to me, we're sitting down and planning to see what we should do. He said, Marva, why don't we try to get into the CSE Games? And I said, okay. And we started the process of writing to Mr. Steve Stout, who was president of Casco at the time.
Yes.
And then we wrote letters in Spanish, French, and English to every member of the Olympic Committee of that movement. Fast forward now to about November 2019, the CEO of World Netball, INF, and myself journeyed to Panama in November, I think.
That would have been still Molly Rowan? She was still.
No, this is the CEO, is Claire Brieger.
Oh, the CEO.
Molly was the president, but the CEO was Claire Brieger. She was there when Molly was there.
Yes.
So we flew to Panama and made a presentation to the Congress about netball. Because the Caribbean people knew the game, right? But there are some Spanish and French-speaking countries in the region that know very little about netball. So actually what we did, we made a presentation to the Congress and we appealed to them to consider putting netball in the CSE Games. There was a little hiccup at the Congress, and there was a new president coming in, and he saw how disappointed we were, and he said, okay, we're going to see how we can get netball into the CSE game. I went back to Florida in December, and there was another meeting, a sport accord meeting, and he said to me, I promised I was going to do my best to get netball in the CSE games. And he said he was able to convince the executive give us a nod. The games were supposed to have been in Panama, but with COVID,
yes,
it moved to El Salvador. Around about mid of June of this year, we heard that we were accepted, and immediately we formed a development committee to see how we were going to set foot in El Salvador. So that, in a nutshell, is how we got to where we are. And I really want to take this opportunity to thank all the NOCs. Of course, I was in Mr. Samuda's ear and Ryan Foster's ear, saying to them, you know, as I did with the other NOCs from all the Caribbean countries, you've got to help us.
Yes.
And they supported the dream, and here we are. So I really want to thank Chris and Ryan and those other guys in the Caribbean. I know Mr. Bridgewater from St. Kitts Nevis, Keith Joseph from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Yes. These guys championed our cause, and here we are now, getting ready to get netball started and being played in El Salvador.
Yeah, well, the story hasn't really sunk in fully yet, I would suspect, but I'm pretty certain that the Caribbean netball fraternity is really thrilled after the work by you administrators to ensure that it is now a part of the CAC.
It has sunken in because we formed the development committee in June.
Yes.
It has resurfaced because of the new, and all news is good news and helps us to go further down into the people who don't know about our sport, right?
Yes.
So it came back now with this push from Jamaica Olympic Association.
Yes.
Saying what they did,
yeah.
and it's true, they did, and so did everybody else, because it's a team effort. But when you have a strong country like Jamaica pushing for you,
yes.
and it's a Caribbean sport for now,
yes.
but the people from Argentina and Venezuela had a great impact because they are Spanish speaking and know about netball.
Yes.
So their efforts helped to make this decision a reality.
Well, Marva, I think all that's left to happen now is for the Caribbean countries to win gold, silver and bronze at the CAC Games in El Salvador.
Yes, but we have to get it going first. And I'm depending on the Spanish people from Argentina. Those ladies punch way above their weight, and they will help us to actually teach the coaching, get the players started in that country, and we look forward to being able to help El Salvador to get going with netball. We have Guadeloupe who is learning also.
Yes.
And this augurs well for where World Netball wants us to grow the game and expand it, not only in South America where we have Argentina's President Mabel Roca doing awesome work, but now we're going to go into Central America, and we have people who are bilingual, so I expect that we're going to need some volunteers.
Yes.
What we are doing, Lance, is that we are training coaches to be able to deploy them into these countries. There's a session right now starting this evening with Jill McIntosh and our secretary, who is also a CAP member.
Yes.
We have 36 coaches in training starting this evening.
Yeah, and in 15 seconds we've got to run now, but I see where Dave Brown and Chris Campbell, two Jamaican umpires, have been assigned to the Africa Netball Cup coming up in Namibia later this month, and I think that's a plus again for Caribbean officials in global netball.
I want you to say Americas because we are more than just the Caribbean.
Yes.
And the people who are not in the Caribbean get jealous when you talk Caribbean and they forget about Argentina, North America, and Canada. So yes, we're proud of our people when they get these assignments. Lance.
Yeah. The producer was just asking about netball in the Olympic Games. Know that you've got CAC covered. I guess the Pan Am Games would be the next step then.
Yeah, but we would want CAC has to be the vehicle, that we get going and then with the Pan Am. We do have our sights set on the Pan Am Games, and of course the Olympics. The lobbying has begun. World Netball, the biggest netball playing country in the world, has Brisbane for the next 2032 Olympics.
That's right.
And I know that the board on which I sit, we are actually beginning to do the groundwork because it's a lot of work. People think it's easy to get in.
Yes.
It's not easy, but we are prepared to do the work to get us there.
Marva Bernard, always great talking to you here on the SportsMax Zone. President of America's Netball, AN, not AFNA anymore. Thanks for the information, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, Lance. It begins with a dream.
Yes.
And then the team kicks in, and it's a team effort. It's not just me alone or any one association. It's all of us in the region that push together to get us here.
Yes, but you have a track record of inspiring success, so we leave it there.
You're very kind.
All right, Marva. Great talking to you as usual.
Lance.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, George and Mariah, great move here for netball and the sport making strides.
Great move for sure, Lance, and we're going to head across to Interactive because we're running really tight on the show today. So let's take a look. I'm inviting them to follow us on Twitter as well as on YouTube. Interactive time. All right. Antonio Conte is back in the English Premier League, and fans of Tottenham Hotspur have tried their best to break the internet with their reactions. Have they broken the internet? What have they been saying? Going from Nuno to Conte, some upgrade that. It's official, Spurs are 2022 league champions. Sorry, I meant Conte has signed. Go and get the engraver. I'm in tears. No way, Man U, you let this happen. Don't know how to feel about Conte to Spurs, but I know Spurs are about to be a whole lot better. You know, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure, because you can't expect somebody to just walk into a team with the same pieces and make magic happen. I mean, look at Barcelona.
Tuchel did it. Thomas Tuchel did it at Chelsea.
Tuchel did, and they won the Champions League.
But remember, Lampard had spent so much money and invested on a whole heap of players.
Yeah, but those players were
the same tools
under Lampard.
All right, well, before we go, so you think Antonio Conte walking into a disgruntled Harrogate team?
Hold on.
No, well, I just want to know what you think.
Yeah, but you are not saying that it will not happen. You're saying you doubt it, and we're saying we think it can work. So you are not committing to say it will not work, because if that's what you're saying,
I would suggest, though, George, that Tottenham doesn't have the tools that Chelsea had.
But that was
if
my
we
point.
compare it with the Tuchel issue.
But no matter who manages Spurs, their target is not to win the league or win any competition. It's to finish in a Champions League place and to go deep in a cup competition.
Yeah.
So if Conte can do that, he'll be a success. Any manager who manages Chelsea has to deliver a big trophy, either the Premier League or the Champions League. The FA Cup doesn't count, the League Cup doesn't count. So it's a different standard. So the fact is, Conte had, Tuchel took charge of a team expensively assembled that was awful and took them to the Champions League. Success. Conte can do something for Spurs.
I just wanted a yes or no answer.
But you didn't know, so yes or no, the point I'm making. You didn't say it will not happen, you know.
And
you
this
said you
man
don't think it will.